I would like to start my oral presentation by introducing the global issue that I've chosen, poverty. Poverty is a global crisis that affects millions daily, stripping individuals of their dignity and perpetuating inequalities. But in fact, how do we truly understand the consequences of poverty? Or in other words, how can we actually realize the severity of poverty in the world? I'd like to introduce two works that I have chosen to represent poverty, a Time magazine cover and Trevor Noah's book extract from Born a Crime. The reason why I picked a Time magazine cover is because the Time magazine cover that I found was related to poverty, and Time is a very famous platform that creates magazines to show the current issues and the current problems in the world. And I selected 40 lines extract from the book. Born a Crime is because Born a Crime talks about poverty and racism, and the main topic that I will be talking about is poverty. They used powerful rhetorical techniques such as juxtaposition and symbolism to remind and expose the readers of harsh realities of poverty and its systematic causes. Let's begin with juxtaposition in the Time magazine cover. Juxtaposition places contrasting ideas side by side, creating powerful emotional and intellectual effects. The headline, How to End Poverty, represents optimism and hope, but this contrasts with the image of a starving mother with her children in the image down below the poster. The contrast makes the reader to be more aware of the gap between rich and poor, vitality and death, hope and despair. Further, the design of the cover uses bold red border and the background with a black color, and and it uses clear text such as How to End Poverty, and poverty is written in a larger font and written in gray color to adapt the color of a black and white image down below. And the use of black image in this case aims to highlight a desolate environment of the family, which is the context, as you can see in the poster. The contrast between the border and the image represents the gap between the modern world and cruel reality, highlighting the importance of focusing on solving poverty as a global issue and for every human in the world. These juxtapositions make the issue more visceral for the audience, and to make the audience more aware and more pay attention to this global issue as an important issue in the world. Next, let's explore the symbolism in Time magazine cover. The empty balls in the image represents hunger and scarcity, which represent a harsh condition without food. The mother's protective embrace of her children represents vulnerability and resilience, showing that even in a desperate condition, they will still fight to survive. The family is crowded together as a representation of hopeless. Finally, the barren environment reflects the systematic neglect and deprivation that perpetuates poverty. Together, these symbols create a powerful and strong emotional connection towards the audience, and highlighting poverty and urging viewers to empathize and take actions towards the global issue. And now, in Born a Crime, Trevor Noah uses juxtaposition to explore poverty as a global issue under apartheid. He contrasts despair with resilience, showing his mother's struggle, plowing fields, eating dirt in her early ages with her eventual success through education and independence, which this is a strong contrast between the harsh conditions with her final success. And this demonstrates that even living in a horrible condition, and the systematic oppression, of course, his mother does not give up and work hard for her livings. Another example is apartheid's promise of sovereignty and freedom in black homelands, with contrasting the reality. Noah describes that South Africa's lush white farmlands juxtapose the poor, barren, and overcrowded black homelands. And this contrast highlights the systematic inequality and poverty for the black homelands, which is a strong contradiction between the white area in that Trevor Noah describes with the black homelands at that time. And lastly, Noah juxtaposes his mother's intellectual wealth and resilience, her ability to learn English and work hard for livings in a bad condition, with how she suffered from poverty, where she didn't have food, she didn't have clothes, she didn't have not even underwear. The strong contrast with her desire to survive by learning English by her own. These juxtapositions highlighted how the author describes his mother that reacts towards poverty at that time. Now let's talk about the symbolism in Born a Crime extract. Symbolism is also a representation of poverty. In this case, food becomes a key symbol in this book. Noah describes that his mother has had to fight for one plate of chicken with 14 other kids. Sometimes she had to eat dirt to stave off hunger, representing extreme deprivation and poverty by that time. Yet, the meal that she earned from her first job symbolizes the resilience and independence. And lastly, the mission school that Trevor Noah describes symbolizes hope through education that proved that opportunities can arise even in the hardest circumstances. What I talked about was the zoom in and zoom out from the book, from the Time magazine, and the book Born a Crime, which the zoom out represents. The zoom out in the Time magazine represents the global issue as a whole, as a general global crisis for all humankind, and the zoom in for the Time magazine is that the different rhetorical techniques the author uses to create the magazine to reflect about the current issues such as poverty. And the zoom out in Trevor Noah's book Born a Crime means that is that the books as a whole that talks about poverty and racism, the zoom in of the extract is that the different aspects of the rhetorical techniques such as symbolism and juxtaposition. And in conclusion, both the Time magazine cover and the Born a Crime book uses juxtaposition as a symbolism to expose the reality of poverty, and they use the different techniques and different ways as they have different representations, because Time is a magazine, it's a non-literary work, and the Born a Crime extract from Trevor Noah's book is a literary piece of work, and both used juxtaposition that highlights the contrast between despair and hope, while symbolism conveys more like a emotional and physical damage that poverty has done to the people, to the poor people. And by analyzing these techniques, we can understand truly and better about the consequences of poverty, and this reminds us the importance of finding the solutions towards poverty as a human goal, as a mutual goal, as a mutual goal to solve poverty as a global issue in general. And I finished my presentation. Thank you.